Hey friends, and welcome back to the Alex Makes VR podcast. In today's episode, I'm diving straight in. Because I am fired up right now. I just got a message from a new friend of mine, someone that's been listening to the podcast, and today she decided to take action on everything that I've been talking about in this podcast. She knew that she wanted to dive into this world. She had a 360 camera, but she didn't know what she was waiting for. And today she decided to just get up and do it. And this episode, I want to dedicate to her, but also I want to dedicate to all of you who are still either sitting and waiting for the perfect time to jump in or to start that project that you really want to do but don't feel like you're good enough to do, or waiting to get the right camera, or waiting for the right time to send that first email, or waiting for that first the perfect time to go around and talk to businesses about 360. Whatever it is, I want to say to you, what are you waiting for? I promise you, it's not as scary as you think. And I promise you that as long as you go into it with the mindset of knowing you're going to be crap at it to begin with, that's the whole point. Just like I was saying in the you are going to fail and why you should fail episode, it's going into any situation with the mindset of, you know what, I'm going into this and I'm probably going to be a bit shit. And I'm probably not going to know what I'm doing. And I might not be able to get my first paying client immediately. Or I might not be able to make that 360 project look exactly how I want it to look. I might not be able to bring the idea to life that I have in my head. But I'm going to make baby steps towards it, because unless you start, you will never, ever, ever reach your goal. So today, I want to ask you, what are you waiting for? What is holding you back? Is it a fear of failure? In which case, let's refer back to that episode and why you should be failing. And I challenge you to fail. But if it's not that, what else is it? Is it that you've not got time? Is it that you're going to wake up in 5 years and be like, oh, there was just never the right time to do it? There's never going to be the right time. We are living through the weirdest times. And as they say, some of the best companies in the world are built during the most adverse times in society. So there will never be the right time, my friend. So you just got to do it. Baby steps. Write a list of if it's a big project, are you trying to go too big too soon? Do you need to scale it down? In which case, think about that idea. What's the ultimate goal? And then think about, okay, if this was simple, what would it look like? What would that first step look like? So for me right now, the big kind of thing that I'm battling against is, how on earth are we going to achieve what I want to achieve with this VR drama that we're kind of working on? How on earth are we going to achieve it? And I think of everything, all the millions of moving parts that will have to happen to make this happen. But do you know what it all starts with? It all starts with me redrafting the script, or me having a conversation with my producer about updating the budget so that I know how much extra money we need to go after. Or it's having a conversation with my DOP about her visual aesthetic kind of dreams for the piece. Or maybe it's the fact that I'm in a place where I need to be re-energized. I need to inspire myself. So maybe my first step is to go and look at some other inspiring short films or things, or even just shows that I'm watching. Maybe the next step is pinpointing what inspires me. I made a playlist on Spotify the other month called, I think it's literally just called Cinematic Playlist. And it's basically every time I come across a song that puts me in that headspace where I'm just I can just imagine myself there in the film. I can imagine a scene playing out. Those kind of songs. I just made a playlist so that every time I'm in a space where I just need to get inspired, I need to be in that cinematic headspace. I listen to those songs a lot when I'm about to go into script writing, because they just instantly put me in that space. But I knew, for me, I'm not inspired. How can I get inspired? Well, for me, music inspires me a lot. So Okay, the next step is to go and make that playlist. Check, done. Step 1, complete. And now I'm making progress. And now I'm getting excited again. And now I'm making baby steps. One of my favourite YouTube videos that I ever saw of Will Smith. You know how you see those like sometimes a bit corny motivational like compilations of people? Well, Will Smith's one of those characters where I didn't really know much about him until I started kind of getting these videos recommended. And because he in himself is a just savage entrepreneur, and he's very passionate and he's very good at what he does, but he's also he's got very interesting and big, powerful kind of views on life and the way he lives his life. And he tells this story, which is it's a very cliche story, but it's powerful in that he talks about, you know, having to think about building a whole wall and feeling overwhelmed. And I think he talks about the fact that him and his brother maybe were building this wall. His dad wanted them to build a wall. And, you know, it all starts with that single brick. And I know that's cheesy. And I know that's very easy. It's very easy to kind of think, oh, yeah, but it's, you know, it's simple to put a brick down. It's less simple to change your life or change your career or do something that is so totally outside your comfort zone. But not really. Not really. It's kind of the same thing. I promise you it's kind of the same thing. And taking that first step, you will be so proud of yourself that the motivation from doing that first step will carry you forward. And if it's like a business context and you're having to like talk to other people and you start getting rejection, that will almost like make you more want to kind of keep going, because the adversity, the rejection, like will fuel you. You'll be like, I'll fucking show you. Turn down my 360 service, will you? I'll show you. You'll be sorry. You'll be cruel. Oh, that's a terrible attitude to have, but sometimes I do think that like that. So I'm just owning that. I'm not saying that's necessarily the most healthy way to think about things, but a good old chip on the shoulder. I mean, that's one thing that Gary Vee talks about all the time, the adversity thing fueling him. Like there's been several contracts and several things. I don't talk about this enough, but there have been several times that I've like had quite not like life earth-shattering rejections that completely uproot my life and change everything. I've not had one of them for a while. But I have rejections all the time. I get overlooked for like contracts all the time. I get, you know, rejections just like everyone else. And you know what? It just makes me more determined, because I just think, well, you're lost because I'm fucking great. So, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Go and do something today. Today. Even if you're listening to this at midnight in bed, writing a list on your phone about what it is you're going to do tomorrow. Just one thing, baby steps. Just one thing, one small achievable thing. Don't have that thing of like, I'm going to make £500 so that I can go out and buy a new camera. Like baby steps. I'm going to write that email to that person, or I'm going to research the estate agents in my area, or I'm going to go and go into some local businesses to see if I can take some photos, or I'm just going to go out and practice with my camera, or I'm going to I'm going to write the first page of my script, or I'm going to reach out and have a conversation with that with that person that I really admire and want to work with, but I've been too scared to reach out. Or I'm going to post that photo or video on social media because I want to be a content creator. Or I'm going to, running out of imagination here. But you get the point, right? Take that first step. I promise you, you will be so glad you did. You will be so glad you did. And you'll be proud of yourself, because in 5 years' time, you'll think, wow, imagine if I hadn't started. Because that's the thing with all of this. It will be one of those things where when you do it, you go, why didn't I do this sooner? So thank you so much to the person who messaged me, who got me fired up to do this episode. You know who you are. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of all of you listening, for even the fact that you're listening means that you're open and you're excited about this, and it's something that you are curious about and you are wanting to do. But now I challenge you, stop listening, go and do. Tomorrow, tonight, do something. In fact, I want you to message me. Hello, segue. I want you to message me to let me know what you're going to do. Tell me what your next step is, and I will hold you accountable. I'm pretty good at replying to most of my messages, but I promise you, if you send me what you want to do, what your first step is, I will hold you accountable. That is a guarantee. Okay? Reach out to me, Alex Makes VR on Instagram and Twitter. If you are listening to this podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcast, if you could follow or subscribe, that would mean the world to me. It just means that you get notified when new episodes go live. If you're on Apple, if you wouldn't mind giving me a rating, that would be superb as well. And now I've dropped down the podcast to a few times a week. I'm sending out less newsletters, but I'm still sending out newsletters that share my insider tips and tricks and all of my hot takes on all of this stuff. Sometimes they're motivational rants, and sometimes they're actually just cold, hard, practical tips on making the career or business in VR that you love. So if you want to sign up for that, it's alexmakesvr.com. So that's it, guys. What are you waiting for?